Hey, it's Medium Jenny Lee. And I'm here with the next discussion. This one I think will be number 7. And we're going to be going over session 6 of the Raw Contact Volume 1. So let's take a look-see. This session is fairly long. So that's why I made session 5 all by itself. Because session 6 is pretty lengthy, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get started. All right. So they're continuing the information that they were going over in session 5, talking about healing. So now they're talking about the third area of learning how to heal. It's the spiritual, which is the least distorted of the mind and the body and the spirit. The exploration and balancing of the spirit complex is indeed the longest and most subtle part of your learning teaching. We have considered the mind as a tree, and the mind controls the body. With the mind single-pointed, balanced and aware, the body comfortable in whatever biases and distortions make it appropriately balanced for that instrument, the instrument is then ready to proceed with the great work. So having your mind and body already balanced out, then you start working on your spiritual, your soul part, which is the least distorted, but it's going to be the most subtle because it's a little bit harder to navigate. That is the work of wind and fire. I like that they're starting to use elements here as examples. The spiritual body energy field is a pathway or channel. When body and mind are receptive and open, then the spirit can become a functioning shuttle or communicator from the entities and individual energy of will upwards, and from the stemmings of the creative fire and wind downwards. So what do they say? What is he saying? What is Ross saying here? Okay. So spirit works as a channel. When your mind and your body are open, then spirit can go back and forth and be a communicator between its own energy and the streaming of the infinite intelligence, intelligent infinity. I always want to say it backwards. So basically, I say the word basically so many times, I need to come up with a different word. So anyway, so remember in session 4, I believe, Ra explained that the soul, the individual soul, moves up and out to meet up with and blend with the stream of the souls coming down, or the blending of the souls, or the intelligent infinity, or spirit, or whatever you want to call it. The healing ability, like all other, what this instrument would call paranormal abilities, is affected by the opening of the pathway or shuttle to intelligent infinity. So these paranormal abilities become possible because the pathway is opened. There are many upon your plane who have a random hole or gateway in their spirit energy field, sometimes created by the ingestion of chemicals, such as LSD, who are able randomly and without control to tap into energy sources. They may or may not be entities who wish to serve. The purpose of carefully and consciously opening this channel is to serve in a more dependable way, in a more commonplace or usual way, as seen by the distortion complex of the healer. To others, there may appear to be miracles. To the one who has carefully opened the door to intelligent infinity, this is ordinary, it's commonplace, this is as it should be. The life experience becomes somewhat transformed, and the great work goes on. Yes, 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 and yes. So this is what I wrote. I feel that's what I do with my mediumship. But is this also talking about physical healing? So that's my question. When I'm doing medium work, I absolutely 100% understand and feel all of this that Ra's talking about. That what I'm doing as a medium is helping people heal their emotional and spiritual and mental distortions, if you will. But is all of this available and works the same way in physical healing? And I guess it does, because that's what Reiki does, right? As in Reiki, I know Reiki also can help heal emotional and spiritual and mental, but Reiki can also heal physical. And there's other healing modalities that can do the same thing. So I guess I just answered my own question. That's just not something I have moved on to. Not that I can't do it, because I have done it. But that, I guess it's just not my focus, you know. I'm not focused on healing physical things. I'm focused on helping people heal all the other bits of their mind, body, spirit complexes. And then apparently they have another friend named Tom Flattery who wants to join, and they ask if Tom can join, and they're like, Tom Flattery is acceptable, but they want to make sure that Tom understands all the stuff that they use for Carla, which they use this word appurtenances. You guys know I'm so terrible at pronouncing things. But basically, it's the stuff they've been using for Carla. The Bible, the candle, the incense, the holy water, the whatever, you know, all that stuff. So Tom has to understand that it's placed, the placement and the loving acceptance of all present will be the nurturing for Carla. So basically, Carla has to know and feel that anybody that enters that space understands and is accepting of her choice of things that need to be used so that she can channel properly. And I thought that was important to know. Okay, so here we go. Dawn wants to know, where did you guys come from? And Ra says that they're from Venus, and that there are 6-dimensional beings. So, okay, so I think Ra uses the wrong word here, and they make a little footnote about it later, that they think Ra meant to say when they were in their 3rd dimension, when they were in their 3rd density, they were golden. So when they had physical bodies, their skin was gold. They had a gold luster. And they were tall and somewhat delicate. So tall, delicate, and gold, and from Venus. And this is how they decided to come among our peoples. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being in Egypt in, 18,000 years ago or whatever, and some really tall, skinny gold people show up? Holy crap. Okay. Your peoples at this time were very much unlike us in physical appearance. Yeah, no shit, Ra, no shit. Okay, as you might call it, we thus did not mix well with the population, and we're obviously other than they. Thus our visit was relatively short, for we found ourselves in the hypocritical position of being acclaimed as other than your other selves. This was the time during which we built the structures in which you show interest. So they came for a very short period of time, built the Great Pyramid, tried to teach us about the law of one, tried to teach us how to heal people and each other. And basically humans were a bunch of assholes. And we don't like your kind around here, Venus. With your gold skin and you're too tall, you better get. Humans. Oh, good Lord. All right. How did you get here? From Venus. We used thought. The third density conditions are not hospitable to the life forms of your people on Venus. So basically, I think they're saying, of course, now at this current time-space continuum, nobody can live on Venus. But I think they're also saying that nobody could have lived on Venus ever. No human could have ever lived on Venus. So basically, I think they're made up in a different way, clearly, so that they were able to live on Venus. However long ago that was, I'm sure it was really, really, really long ago. The fifth and sixth dimensions of that planetary sphere are quite conducive to growing, learning, and teaching. So I've read about this in a book called, well, it might have been in both of them. So there's this author from the 60s, 70s, and maybe even a little bit into the 80s. Her name is Ruth Montgomery, and she was an automatic writer. Actually, she was an automatic typer because she used a typewriter. But she would talk to her guides, and they would tell her information based on her questions about stuff. And then she wrote like a whole bunch of books. And she also would interview people and stuff. So she wrote Aliens Among Us, and there's another one I've read of hers. It's up here on this shelf. That's why I keep looking up here. What's the other one called? Strangers Among Us. And both of them have to do with, really both of them have to do with alien entities. And she talks about that in those books, and I know that other people know about this too from other things, that there's different planets within our solar system and galaxy, or you can go to it in a different density, frequency, dimension, and kind of have, I guess, a span of time there where you learn and grow and do stuff. But it's not in a physical body. It's not in a third dimensional body. So Ra's saying that Venus is a great place to go if you're a fifth or sixth dimensional being, but not if you have a physical body. Ain't no good if you gotta breathe. Okay. Next. All right. So then Dawn asks, did you have to change your dimensions to walk on Earth? You remember the exercise of the wind. Dissolution into nothingness is the dissolution into unity, for there is no nothingness. From the sixth dimension, we were capable of manipulating by thought the intelligent infinity and present in each particle of light or distorted light, so that we were able to clothe ourselves in a replica visible in the third density of your mind-body-spirit complexes in the sixth density, and we were allowed this experiment by the council which guards this planet. So before we get into this council, which is talked about a lot in session 7, basically, they were able to manifest. I said the word basically again. I said I was going to try not to use that word. I need a new word. What's another word for base that's a synonym for basically? I might need to look this up. Anyway, they were able to make a physical body using thought and the power of intelligent infinity through light and distorted light So it made them look like they had a physical body. And maybe it really was a physical body because they're creating it out of stuff. But it, it gets really complicated, because then I was about to say, but not like our physical bodies. But our physical bodies are made the same way. So we just haven't we in the third and fourth density haven't figured out how to make them disintegrate and reappear. Okay, so then Dawn wants to know about where is the council located? The council is located in the octave of the eighth dimension of the planet Saturn, in the rings. So there's a council of beings in the rings of Saturn, but they function on the 8th dimension. That's some craziness. Okay, and as we talk about craziness, here comes some more craziness. Dawn asks, are there any people such as you find on Earth on any other planets in the solar system? So are there any humans anywhere else, is what Dawn wants to know, in our solar system? And this is Ra's answer. At one time space in which you were past, there was a population of third density beings upon a planet which dwelt in your solar system. So there were third density beings on a planet in the solar system a long time ago. They are various names, but by which this planet has been named. The vibratory sound complex most usually used by your people is Maldek. And when I read that, I was like, there is no planet named Maldek, so what are they talking about? I looked it up, and I'll explain some more. Those entities, destroying their planetary sphere, thus were forced to find room for themselves upon this third density, which is the only one in your solar system at their time-space present, which was hospitable and capable of offering the lessons necessary to decrease their minds-body-beer distortions with respect to the law of one. So basically, there was a planet in our solar system, and there was a race of people on it that were similar to humans, and they destroyed their planet, and they had to flee, and they came to Earth. So I looked up Maldek. Maldek, also known as Phaeton, may have been a planet between Mars and Jupiter, and the remains of that planet are now our asteroid belt. It was reported to be a bright object that appeared around 1500 BC that fell to Earth. And the reason why it's called Phaeton is because it was the Greeks that saw it, that knew about it, that knew that it existed, that thought it was something. It was a celestial body. And they, from what I can gather, they pretty much saw it blow up. And bits and pieces of it fell to Earth and caused fires in Africa. Now, if you ask a modern day scientist or whoever, archaeologist, scientist, astrophysicist, whoever, whatever kind of name you want to give scholarly folks, I would probably say that 99% of them would say that this is just hearsay and nobody knows. But there was quite a few scholars throughout history that studied this, and there's a lot of evidence and information to back it up that it really existed. And it makes sense to me that, I guess the explanation of the asteroid belt right now is that Jupiter has such a huge gravitational pull that it pulls in all this space junk, and that's why we have the asteroid belt there. But there are some very large chunks of that are, like, one of the asteroids in the asteroid belt is so big that it's actually considered like a dwarf planet. Did you know that? I didn't know that. And there's actually another one that's so big that it's like, it's kind of like the same as the other one. So this makes a lot of sense to me, and I really do feel like there's truth to it. Now, the scholars over time that have studied it and put out, you know, scholarly documentation about it, have different theories about what caused the planet to explode. You know, something could have hit it. The pull of Jupiter could have made it fall apart. But then there's also this theory that something happened within the planet itself to make it explode. And we're all saying that they destroyed it themselves. Yikes. Okay. Don wants to know, well, how did those people come here? And then Ra, you see I have a question mark there. Ra says, they came through the process of harvest and were incarnated through the process of incarnation from your higher spheres within this density. So there's quite a few times from here on out that Ra talks about this process of harvesting, and I'm not really sure what that means yet. I think he explains that some more, and it might even be in this session, but we'll just leave it there for now. And then Don says, when did this happen? 500,000 years ago. So Ra's saying it happened 500,000 years ago, but somehow in 1500 BC, the Greeks were seeing it in the sky. So I'm not sure how that connects. I don't know if anybody's done any research about it, but that's that. Okay. Then Dawn asks, is all of Earth's population originally from Maldek? Ross says, this is a new line of questioning, deserves a place of its own. The ones who were harvested to your sphere from the sphere known before its dissolution as other names, but to your peoples as Maldek, incarnated within your Earth surface rather than upon it. Incarnated. Many within your Earth surface rather than upon it. What does that mean? The population of your planet contains various groups harvested from other second dimension and cycled third dimension spheres. You are not all one race or background of beginning. The experience you share is unique to this time-space continuum. So Ra's saying that we are a mixture of jumbled up stuff. And that this is unique to us. Like there's no other place like it. And isn't that wonderful and amazing? And sad that we fight it so much. You know, I'm gonna try not to get in a big rant about things, but throughout our history as humans, we're constantly fighting against other humans that aren't like us in some way. Whether that's because they're from a different place, they have a different skin color, they have a different religion, they have different beliefs, blah, 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 blah. And good Lord, if that isn't happening on an unimaginable scale in the United States of America right now in the year 2022. And, you know, I thought a few years ago that we had moved past all of that. That we were moving away from racism, and that we were moving away from bigotry, and that we were moving away from, you know, not being accepting of each other. And then here we are, and it's like people are trying to make it like 1950 all over again, and it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. But here Ra is saying that we've always been a mixed up bunch of stuff. That our beginnings aren't even the same. not only are we different shades of brown and have different beliefs, but that we're from different places in the universe. And we're all mixed together. And to me, that is a beautiful, wonderful, amazing thing. Like, I'm starting to get chills just thinking about it. I think that's an amazing thing. But there's so many people still fighting that. And like, I don't understand it at all. But anyway, there's a lot more about that particular topic in session 7, which will come later. Okay, so Don's like, hey man, what's this harvesting thing? And this is a really long description. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to understand it all, but let's try. The law of one states simply that all things are one, and that all beings are one. Okay, we got that. There are certain behaviors and thought forms consonant with the understanding and practice of this law. Those who, finishing a cycle of experience, demonstrate various degrees of distortion of that understanding of thought and action will be separated by their own choice into a vibratory distortion most comfortable to their mind-body-spirit complexes. So Ra is saying, in my understanding, that when you finish a life, you can decide whether you want to move up or not. What's comfortable for you? Are you still in the 3rd dimension? Are you still in the 3rd density? Have you moved up to 4th density? Or are you ready to move on past that even? This process is guarded or watched by those nurturing beings who, being very close to the law of one and their distortions, nevertheless have the distortion toward active service. So it sounds like you can make the choice individually, but there are other beings that are going to help you probably make that choice or decide what's best, and decide whether you're going to move on or not, is what it sounds like. Thus, the illusion is created of light, or more properly, but less understandably, light love. This is in varying degrees of intensity. The spirit complex of each harvested entity moves along the line of light until the light grows too glaring, and at this time the entity stops. So it sounds like there's almost like a physical process where the person decides they want to move forward, and they move forward as much as they can until it's too much. The entity may have barely reached 3rd density, or may be very, very close to the ending of the 3rd density light-love distortion vibratory complex. Nevertheless, those who fall within this octave of intensifying light love then experience a major cycle during which the opportunities are many for the discovery of the distortions which are inherent in each entity, and therefore the lessening of these distortions. So every time you level up, you have a major cycle where you have a lot of opportunities to learn. Makes sense. And people who subscribe to the idea of ascension, that you're moving up through these levels, I think would understand that very well. How long does it take? Done. How long does it take? At first I was thinking that this was by social memory complex, but this might be individually. One major cycle is approximately 25,000 of your years. There are 3 cycles of this nature during which those who have progressed may be harvested. At the end of 3 major cycles, that is approximately between 75 and 76,000 of your years, all are harvested regardless of their progress. For during that time, the planet itself has moved through the useful part of the dimension and begins to cease being useful for the lower levels of vibration within that density. So it's both. So each individual moves up the ladder, so to say, and moves up the levels and densities. At the end of each 25,000 years, The ones who progress the most will be moved up to the next level. But at the end of 75,000 years, everybody's harvested to the next level because stuff is not useful anymore for lower vibrations. And then Don says, well, where are we now? And this is where it is. Ra says we're in the fourth dimension. Material is quite confused. You don't say, Ra. You don't say. Its material is quite confused due to the society memory complexes embedded in its consciousness. It is not made an easy transition to the vibrations which beckon. Therefore, it will be fetched with some inconvenience. To me, it sounds like there's still a lot of people fighting and not understanding the law of one and making stuff difficult. So there's a lot of confusion, and it's not been an easy transition. And boy, do we all feel that. Okay. Is this inconvenience imminent within a few years? So therefore it will be fetched with some inconvenience. Fetched. So he's asking, when is this fetching going to happen? This inconvenience or disharmonious vibratory complex has begun several of your years in the past. It shall continue unabated for a period of approximately 30 years. So by 2011, and I just saying that out loud, I already feel like there's going to be quite a few people who have some revelations that their personal journeys changed around that time. I know mine did. I know Charity's did. Who else? Who else's lives started really changing around the year 2011? I think I was starting to become way more aware of spirituality around that time. And around the year 2012 is when stuff started kicking into high gear for me. So this definitely seems accurate. Okay. Is it possible to estimate what percentage of the present population will inhabit the fourth density planet? Harvesting is not yet, thus estimation is meaningless. So Don's basically asking, after the 30-year period, will it be a fourth density planet? And Ra said yes. And then he's asking how many, and Ra's like, I don't know, it hadn't happened yet. Which is weird, because if all time happened at the same time, why would Ra not know if it happened yet? Oh, questions. Okay, next, Don spends a lot of time asking about UFOs. He wants to know if the UFOs people have been seeing are from Venus. And Ra says no. No, they're not. Because we don't use disc-shaped crafts. They used to use crystals and bell shapes. Crystals and bell shapes, but they don't travel in craft anymore. We visited your peoples 18,000 years ago and did not land. And again, 11,000 years ago. So basically, they never came here in a craft. They showed up using their thought, light understanding of how to create material, physical material, both times. They never came in a craft. Okay. And Don's very adamant about asking again that they have photographs of bell-shaped crafts and reports of people from Venus from less than 30 years ago. And Ra's like, you know what? We're no longer of Venus. They were from Venus, but they haven't been from Venus. They haven't been from Venus, and you know, they originated from Venus, but they haven't been on Venus in a really long time. We have knowledge of oneness with these forays of your time, space, present. We are no longer of Venus. However, there are thought forms created among your people from our time, of walking among you. The memory and thought forms created therefrom are a part of your social memory complex. This mass consciousness, as you may call it, creates the experience once more for those who request such experience. The present Venus population is no longer sixth density. So what in the hell does that mean? I'm not even really sure, because all I wrote was wow. It sounds like humans have created a new population of Venus beings because of what they originally left us with when they did come in 18,000 and 11,000 years ago. We created a new race of Venus people using our thoughts and imagination on a collective consciousness. But Ra's saying that's not them. You guys made that. And that makes my brain want to blow up. Because I don't know what's going on. Okay. Do any of your UFOs that have presently reported come from other planets here at this time? Do you have any knowledge? And here's some more information about the Confederation of Planets. There are approximately 53 civilizations comprising approximately 500 planetary consciousnesses. The Confederation contains those from your own planet who have attained dimensions beyond your third. It also contains planetary entities from your solar system and other galaxies. So this Confederation of Planets has people from our planet, peoples from the other planets in our solar system, and peoples from the other galaxies. And when I say peoples, they're not really peoples. They're these social memory complexes. And Dawn just doesn't get it. And, okay, so... all right, so my friend Charity made a comment on one of the previous discussions that she thought that it seemed like I have a connection with Ra because I'm able to explain all of this easily, and I told her that it wasn't easy. But I kind of understand what she means, because sometimes when I read the questions that Dawn asks, I'm like, roll my eyes, because, and it's 11:11 right now, so I guess that means I'm on the right track. He's like, were you not listening to anything he just said? But the stuff that Ra says and the way that Ra words it is really confusing. And, sitting in a room listening to Carla say all these words and then probably feeling the pressure of having to immediately ask a question, I'm sure is completely different than me being able to read it 2 or 3 times, process it, and then move on to the next question. So, no offense to Dawn. But you'll see. So then Dawn asks, do any of them come here in spacecraft in the last 30 years? And then Ra does the same thing I just did, where Ra rolls its eyes, and it's like, man, this stuff is not important. But we as humans who are experiencing this UFO activity can think of nothing else that would be more important, All right. There have been as many as 15 of the Confederation entities in your skies at one time, the others available to you through thought. So we have had entities from the Confederation in our skies. And then I wrote that I really love this. And there was something about it when I read it that really just, I don't know, it made me feel a certain way. So at present, there are 7 which are operating with craft in your density. Their purposes are very simple: to allow those entities of your planet to become aware of infinity, which is often best expressed in the uninformed as the mysterious or unknown. Become aware of infinity, which is often best expressed to the uninformed as mysterious or unknown. I love that so much, because it's like every person that feels the pull of wanting to understand things that don't make sense, the paranormal, the supernatural, the UFOs, the Bigfoot, the ghosts, all of that stuff. Like, if you feel a pull to that, it's the universe wanting you to try to figure it out. It's literally the universe wanting you to figure it out, to make you think, to make you question, to make you wonder. And it's kind of beautiful. It's kind of beautiful because, you know, the people that get into all of this stuff, which if you're watching it, if you're watching this, you're one of them. We all want to know the answers, right? That's why we're diving deep into all of these things. But where would the fun be if you knew all the answers immediately? You would have nothing else to wonder, ponder, question, experience, be thrilled about, be passionate about. You wouldn't have all of that, because you would just know everything. You would just know it. And there's way more fun in the wondering and the pondering and the questioning. Okay, the last little bit of session 6. We find out there really was a Leonard. Remember in the first session where Ra is communicating through Carla, and then for some reason Ra decides to try to communicate through Dawn? Or no, he tries to communicate through Jim, I think, and somebody named Leonard. And we're like, who the heck is Leonard? Here it is. Leonard was here when you first made contact. Is it suitable for him to be here the same as Tom? I was like, how many people are you guys going to invite, basically? Ra says. Yeah, that's fine. But that's all that we need to invite at this time. And remember that Leonard needs to know the importance of the stuff that Carly uses. So there really was a Leonard, everybody. He was a real person sitting in the room on that very first session. This will be the conclusion of whatever number this is. That was 6, so it must be 7. Discussion number 7. And I'm really enjoying doing these discussions, and I think that it's extraordinarily helpful for me to understand all of this content, and I think that understanding all of this content is important for me and for those of you that are also finding it important. There are going to be a lot of discussion videos because look how far we are in the book. We're only on page 64. We've only made it to session 7, and look how big this is. Now, granted, the end of it, there's photographs and there's an index and there's like a listening report and like all this stuff. So how many sessions are there? Let's look. It looks like there might be 56. There are 56 6 sessions, and the last page of sessions is 443. We're going to be here together doing these videos for a super long time. And there is a volume 2. By the time when I get to the end of this one, we'll see if I'm ready for volume 2. I will probably have to take a break and read some like fiction or something for a while, but I have a feeling I'll probably do volume 2. Because you can't just do half of it and not do the rest, right? But yeah, there's gonna be a ton of these videos. I just hope I can finish them. I hope that I can get through this in a timely fashion before I have to go back to work. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Don't forget, this is number 7. There are 6 more discussion videos before this, if this happens to be the first one that you have come across. And the whole reason why we're doing this is because during a 2 different Twitch streams, I was contacted by Raw during a meeting reading for someone else, and Raw wanted to talk to that person, and that has started this whole downward spiral of craziness into the world of Raw. So there are those highlight videos available in the Twitch highlights. They're called First Contact and Second Contact, if you're interested. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll be back for more discussions. Lots more discussions. See you later. Bye-bye.